Welcome back to the channel, guys. We are live again. What is going on in pop culture today? Well, now, I shouldn't even say today. I mean, I've just been on all day with you guys. We are talking about, have you guys heard this breaking news? Okay, I need to tell you guys something. We're talking about, oh, Jesus. Oh, there went my phone. 1 second. Okay. We are looking at the Justin Baldoni new Blake Lively lawsuit, everything to know, from tarot cards. We're going to play with the tarot cards. And, it's so funny. If you guys watch, you guys know that I took, I don't know, maybe a week and a half off because I was not feeling well, had really weird high heart rate. And I had it's funny, recorded a tarot pull for them and never posted it because just I was sick and didn't even think about it. But now it had actually talked about everything that's coming true now. The only thing that hasn't come true yet is I had said, based on the tarot cards, I feel like we're going to get his version of the movie. That hasn't come true yet. But I did predict that this was going to go down, this massive ass lawsuit. But I don't want to post it now because obviously now it's going to look like just doing it. Anyway, let's look at this first. I have Newsweek up. Let's just look at the lawsuit really quick. I don't want to read it. You can stream like Popcorn Planet or Emily D. Baker. If you want more of like the commentary, like pop culture, Popcorn Planet is awesome. Or Emily D. Baker if you want more of the like legal perspective. So we're just going to look at what this is quick. We're not reading, I think it's like 80 pages. And then we're going to do a card pull. I want to do a card pull for Justin with the Blake and Ryan situation. And then I have one that I want to do. I want to pull a couple cards before I let you guys go with Taylor Swift because she is dragged into this lawsuit. Now, here's the thing. I've not said like Taylor Swift first. Her energy is very hard to get in card pulls. And I know there's all these jokes about her being a magician, but I wouldn't be surprised. Her energy is very hard to access in card pulls. But other than that, I just want to say this, guys, because I'm seeing this narrative a lot online that, Blake can't be a bad person, and I'm not saying she is. We still don't know all the details. If what Justin's claiming is true, then it looks pretty bad. And a lot of people are saying Taylor's such a good person and she's so kind and she's so caring and like, why would she hang out with someone that's not? Like, obviously Blake's not. Guys, like Taylor has the best marketing and PR team in like history. Not only that, but she is a mastermind at building a brand. I'm not saying she's not a good person, but what I am saying is everything you see about her is intentional. Articles about her are PR articles. Donations are to boost the girl next door, woman next door brand archetype she has created. It is also all illusions, right? Like when you get to that level, it's social media manipulation at the end of the day. I think we've become more awake to it with like politicians and stuff, but I still believe we have a long way to go to see. And maybe it's just because I work in that field as well. Like I work with big brands and public figures, and I'm not a PR specialist. Definitely not a PR specialist. And I help my clients when they're going through stuff like that in conjunction with the rest of their team. So maybe it's just because I see the back end of it and I see what goes on, not the level of Taylor Swift, but I think we also have to wake up to the fact that you don't know any of these celebrities, right? None of us know any of these celebrities. And it's all like a PR machine, including T Swift or whatever her fans call her. So just because she donates a lot doesn't mean that it's like necessarily, it might be from the goodness of her heart, but it's also an image she's keeping up. So anyway, keep that in mind. They all have PR. They all have crisis management teams. The thing that I find the weirdest about all of this is it's like he's the only one that has a crisis management team. He's the only one that has a PR team. Like using that as an example of why you believe he is guilty is asinine and shows honestly a lack of critical thinking skills, because they all have that. She just kind of lost, honestly, because no doubt she had a PR team working too. So anyway, let's break this down a bit, and then we're going to look at the cards that I'm pulling. Okay, so I think it's a $400 million lawsuit, Brian Philman, an attorney for Baldoni, told Newsweek in a statement, the lawsuit is a legal action based on an overwhelming amount of untampered evidence detailing Blake Lively and her team's duplicitous attempt to destroy Justin Baldoni, his team, and their respective companies by disseminating grossly edited, unsubstantiated, new, and doctored information to the media. So, sorry, I said 80 pages, 179-page lawsuit. Yeah, y'all can go to Popcorn Planet or Emily D. Baker to go through the entire lawsuit. I cannot. I've been talking all day, either on calls with clients or this is literally what I do. Branding and astrology is literally my full-time job. This is my job. So I've either been on calls with clients today for their own brands and businesses or on here with you guys talking astrology. So $400 million in damages. Can I actually, let's see if I can pull this up. Is this the actual? Okay. Let me see if I can switch. And we'll just go over a little bit. Okay. So it's against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Leslie Sloan, who is her PR, and her PR company, Vision PR Inc. All right. So the following is not a story plaintiffs ever wished to tell. Unfortunately, defendant Blake Lively has unequivocally left them with no choice, not only to set the record straight in response to Lively's accusations, but also to put the spotlight on the parts of Hollywood that they have dedicated their careers to being the antithesis of. That task was always going to be an uphill battle. They never imagined they would encounter it to this degree. Had Blake Lively chosen to merely ride out the self-inflicted press catastrophe she faced, I do agree with this. And it's something you know what's interesting? I have certain cards that I keep pulling with them. And the Devil's one in relationship to the illusions that have been created on her side. Again, I'm neutral on this. And I'm not saying she lied about everything. She probably did. There's probably things that did make her feel uncomfortable. That movie is an intense, I can't even imagine acting in a movie like that, to be honest, and what that does to your psyche. You couldn't pay me enough, to be quite honest. And, the interview, for example, with, I'm going to butcher her name. So I'm not even going to, Kirsty. I just butchered it. But the interviewer where she congrats on your baby bump or your little bump. I do think, and after I've seen her astrology and her human design chart, I do think she tends to take things really personally as well. So I do wonder if there's situations that she took really personally, and I don't know. I don't even want to I want to stay focused because I've already streamed for 3 hours today. But Blake Lively could not tolerate her publicity tainted image for even a moment, and further could not accept that it was entirely her own making. This is the thing too. I do believe there's a little bit of delusion happening because I pulled the devil card and I pulled it's here too to look at this. I pull the devil card all the time and it's illusions. I actually think the illusions that we're talking about with the devil card, when I pull them in regards to Blake Lively, I don't it's not she's the devil. I think what it is and why that card keeps coming up is for the illusion piece. I honestly, it's similar to Meghan Markle, where I had said, I don't know if she fully understands how she comes across. And I don't know if she even understands that she's not taking responsibility. And I honestly think this is a piece of why the devil card keeps coming up for her, because I feel like it's illusions that she, it couldn't have been how I came across. It couldn't have been how I came across in interviews or what I did. There had to have been, for people to not like me on this scale, it had to have been something else. It had to have been a certain campaign against me. I don't know. When she and Reynolds could not force Baldoni and Wayfair to read a statement, she and her representatives prepared, extorting them to take accountability. Oh, interesting. In defense of Lively's actions, she lay in wait for months, preparing to publicly attack Baldoni by falsely claiming that he had sexually harassed her. I shouldn't have said those words. The same falsified stories she had calculatively devised and used throughout the production of the film in order to take control were now being used publicly to destroy Baldoni and plaintiffs. She stole Wayfair's movie, hijacked Wayfair's premiere, destroy plaintiffs' personal, professional reputations and livelihood. She aimed to drive plaintiffs out of business entirely. I think this happens in Hollywood more than we think, shit like this, if I'm going to be honest. And if you look back at Ryan Reynolds, there is a situation like this that also happened on Deadpool. So this isn't necessarily unheard of in their world of kind of taking control. The CRD complaint, and upon information and belief, the false information delivered to New York Times before the CRD complaint was filed was rife with lies and doctored evidence. We did see that. And again, I think the devil card keeps getting pulled with her. Like, this is it here again. Oops, sorry, fucking. Oh my gosh, I think it's all reverse. I don't think, though, it's, and I don't get the energy. The energy I get out of it is illusions, which is the devil card also. And I honestly think she just, and then what do? You have to run with it, right? She followed this, she did the CRD complaint. He called her bluff. And after he called her bluff, she filed the official lawsuit. On information and belief, Lively never, read, Ashley, keep reading. Lively never intended to file a civil lawsuit, which would have triggered plaintiffs' right to discovery, including obtaining evidence and disposing Lively under oath. By the time Lively actually filed a lawsuit against plaintiff, the damage to plaintiff was done by virtue, yes, of Lively's months colluding with the New York Times on a false and malicious narrative, unshielded by any privilege. Make no mistake, these actions were deliberate. I mean, is there really any question about that? I do agree with this. We're going to see. So it's very interesting. When I pull for Blake, I get the devil. And every time, if you guys have watched past tarots I've done for them, I've never, like, I can't actually remember the devil coming up ever consistently, me pulling it. But for them, I consistently pull it. The Hermit tends to be what I pull for Justin Baldoni. Consistently, I pull the Hermit for him. And we're going to see that again here. I also pull the Hangman for him. And for Taylor Swift, I tend to pull the Star. And that's like back before I deleted my entire channel. For those that are like newer here, I used to have like 300 plus videos on this channel. And then I just got sick of all of it. I deleted all of it. And then I decided to start it up again. But back in the day, I used to pull a lot for Taylor Swift. And I like consistently every single time I pulled a Star for her. So whenever I pull for Taylor, I know I'm on the, like, I know the energy's hit and I'm able to access the energy when I pull the Star, because it's literally the card that when I pull for Justin, I pull the Hermit. I know it's right on track. When I pull the Devil for Blake, again, please don't take my words to mean that she's lying or anything. It's illusions. That's what's coming through with that for Blake. And then for Taylor, it's always the Star. Lively yields immense power as one of the world's best known celebrities. In 2024, she used that power to seize control of the film It Ends With Us, produced and co-financed by plaintiff Wayfair and directed by Baldoni, who also portrayed the lead. Is it Ryle? She set out to destroy plaintiffs' livelihoods and business if they did not bend her. I have no doubt shit like this goes on in Hollywood. Like, I have no delusions that this isn't like business as usual. And when they refused to give away, she did exactly that, accusing them of foul and reprehensible sexual misconduct. Wayfair was blindsided when Lively, upon conclusion of the industry strikes, refused to return to production, absent the companies agreeing to her non-negotiable protection for return of production. Wayfair was equally blindsided when Lively leveraged this document, essentially signed under duress to seize control of the film, ultimately getting her own way. Lively's excuse. Have you guys seen, is it actually, and let me know what you think as well in the comments or on the replay of everything, all this, like, there's also a lawsuit against Ryan Reynolds for Nice Pool. And then people are like, there's PR release being like, no, Nice Pool's based off of Canadians. But there was like some interesting jokes that were made that were like very specific. And then it looks like Nice Pool gets shot by Blake outside a flower shop. I don't know. It seems like a little bit too much. I haven't pulled cards or anything for it, but it seems like a little bit too much of a coincidence if you ask me. But what do I know? but it does seem like a little bit too much of a coincidence. So that'll be interesting to see that discovery if we get that. When Lively faced significant public backlash from what was often referred to as her tone deaf and insensitive press tour for the film. Like, here's the thing. I want you guys to let me know what you think in the comments as well, because when I see allusions for the devil card with her and how it keeps coming up, she has said that the studio basically forced her to promote it like that. But then what we see is she had control of everything. So it's just hard for me to believe if Blake Lively had been like, I will not promote this film if you're forcing me to like tell people to like grab their girlfriends and florals, like I won't promote it. I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't have switched the approach. I just find it really hard to believe. And again, I think that's where that devil card keeps coming up for her with illusions. She did not expect, however, that plaintiffs would be able to meet those allegations with concrete documentary evidence disproving her claims and demonstrating that they, not Lively, were the targets of a calculated and vitriolic smear campaign. I will say, so I had a situation years ago with an employer, about 5 years ago. Oh my God, no. Okay, I'm older than I think. Probably closer to 10 or 11. Where actually this happened. Let me make it bigger so you guys can see as well. This actually happened where it was in regards to like CRA and taxes, and they were having me file a certain way, but then I got in trouble with the government for filing a certain way. And when the government came to me and I was the one that was going to end up paying all the penalties, like I was the one that was on the line, I sent them like a book like this of proof and emails back and forth with my old boss. I had like everything documented, and she ended up having to pay everything. But that boss, like, I believe it that some people just don't realize that you have everything. A text message, September 14th, text message from Baldoni to Heath. After rereading the book, which had 150 pages to build their relationship, we have combined scenes to heighten the stakes for Ryle in pursuit of Lily, utilizing humor and his desire to sleep with her. While I understand Blake's reasons for not wanting to read the book, y'all, she didn't even read the book. So maybe like this was like blindsided. Oh my God, my cards are like falling all over me. They're like, lady, pull cards. Pull cards about this. I have cards. It's okay. It's okay. Maybe it was like a like shock when shit started to go down and she was uncomfortable, but because she didn't realize the context of the, maybe that's wild. This is a text message, September 14th. So while I understand Blake's reasons for not wanting to read the book does a very good job in getting in Lily's mind during her interactions with Ryle and setting up the why behind her attraction to him, which ultimately helps us understand why she stays in the end. Does she stay in the end? I thought she left in the end. I didn't read the book, but I also wasn't starring in the book. I want to pull, but I don't want to. Trying to like make space for everything that I'm got going on here. Lively's disastrous marketing efforts and tone. Sorry, I didn't expect to read this much, but now I'm captivated. Disastrous marketing efforts and tone. I promise we'll get to the tarot. Press interviews, appearances backfired and led to widespread criticism. Yes. See, this was super tone deaf. Let me know in the comments, did you guys see that where she was like using her alcohol brand to like at parties for the movie, and they were like named after the characters, like Ryle, you wait. That is bizarre to me, and I can't imagine Sony forced her to do that. I don't know. Guys, if this is all true, the devil card for her is like starting to make more and more sense. Like every single time, back to back, I pull. So when I'm pulling for the two of them, and you guys know, well, you're not going to know on the one video that never saw the light of day, unfortunately, because I got sick and then forgot to upload it. And now it's going to look like I just faked it because it calls all this. But I always pull the devil for her and the hermit for him. I think a part of why he's so, is he a second line? I think he's a second line, right? Let me pull it up here really quick. I believe I have his, I thought I had his. Oh yeah, because I put it in wrong. It's just middle name in Baldoni. Oh no, it's a 3-5. She has projections. I'll show you guys for those that like human design. Let me know. Do you guys know human design? I'll pull it up. Okay, so no, he's 3-5. So that's projections. So they're both dealing with projections though. So he has a 3-5. When we're looking at human design, guys, the number in front. So if you pull up your chart, the number in front under profile is what you're consciously aware of, and what's underneath you're unconscious of. So that's going to be like your design in the body. You're not conscious of it. So the 5, the 2 and the 4 is going to have a lot of projections. Like the projections on the 2 though are more like, oh, it's so easy for you. Like that's the projection on the 2 of like, it's so easy for you. The projections on the 5, however, which this is Justin Baldoni's human design chart, the projections on the 5 are more like people are on your side until they get to burn you at the stake. Like there's just like, and it's more of the guru, the savior. People see you as the savior, but if you don't live up to that, it's like burn you down, like burn it all down. So even what we saw in the public, right? Like when she put out the New York Times article, the public, even though they had been like predominantly on Justin's side, couldn't wait to burn him at the stake, couldn't wait to take him down. That's very much the 5th line. Now, what we have to understand is the 5th line's on the unconscious. It's below conscious awareness. So this is someone that's gone through a lot of trial and error, 3rd line, that's the story of his life, but they also don't know and understand why they're being projected on, right? Like someone, for example, a 3-5 like Justin Baldoni might be like, I'm just here trying to make my movie about domestic violence. Like, what is going on? Why are you projecting on me? Why is all this happening? Because it's unconscious. He also has channel struggle, design of stubbornness. This channel's like knowing what's worth fighting for. So we can actually see this really come out in this lawsuit. It's like, actually, some of these cards represent that he was kind of a pushover for a while, to be honest. So I almost wonder if it was like, especially, I'm in the spiritual space, obviously. I mean, you're on a tarot reading. So obviously, I'm in the spiritual space. I've been in the spiritual space for a long time. I do almost wonder if it was like not necessarily pushover energy, but just like, I'll go with the flow, whatever you guys want to keep the peace, whatever, right? And so for him at the time, it felt like it's not worth the struggle because it is knowing what's worth struggling for, this channel he has. So at the time, it's like, it's not worth the struggle, whatever, like do the wardrobe, etc. But now he's like, okay, like you're coming for my livelihood. You know, if either 2 things are true, that everything she said is true, and he did all that, he's a creep, obviously, and deserves to be brought down. But either way, even if it's not true, all she had to do was level those claims and it destroyed his life. Ultimately. She's all like, she's got a lot of ego. And I don't mean ego as in like egotistical, although it does kind of like, look at this. I have a full reading on her human design, but all gates of the ego are defined with really powerful like design, channel of initiation, a design needing to be first, 51 to 25, 44 to 26. Okay, here's the thing. It says channel surrender. Look at what just fell out of the deck as I pull up her chart. Oh, fuck. It's all backwards. I need to like make sure it's not mirroring. The world. Sovereign of Swords, reversed. And then the star falling. Interesting. I usually, well, we're talking about her right now, but these just fell out. I literally have the cards just sitting in my lap because if you guys have been around for a while, my office is full of chickens right now. So I'm not actually in my office. But interesting. I've never pulled it for, actually, I think I might have once, but the star falling. Yeah, like falling in the eyes of the world. But here's the thing that's interesting. So when we see the channel surrender 26 to 44, for those that either do or don't know human design, it might seem like a cool energy. Like she just surrenders. You just surrender with that energy. And then like you go with the flow of life. Oh my gosh, my horses are staring at me. They're like, lady, can you stop streaming and come outside? They like know it's coming close to lunch or to dinner. My husband tends to do dinner for them though, so I can relax after work. But what the 44 to 26 is, look at Taylor Swift also has it. It's like really fucking smart on the material plane. Like, you know how to make money, you know how to feed people, like, you know how to like give the people what they want essentially, so people will buy it. So when we even look at Taylor Swift, like she's like a mastermind, a genius on the material plane. Like the woman is a genius. Channel struggle as well. She knows what's worth fighting for, which is interesting because that's going to be a really conflicting energy between her and Justin Baldoni, and channel of judgment. But anyway, and she's a 5-1 too. Hi, Julia. Please don't take out Julia. I know. Julia, I know. Thank you, sweetheart. Go find your dad. I love you. Go find your dad. Hi, sweetheart. How did you even get down here? You're going to pull down everything, aren't you? Can you please get Julia? I'm streaming. She's literally going to pull down my entire setup. That is my rescue German Shepherd, and she likes to cause a commotion and be the center of tension. Anyway, so that's going to be a huge conflict with Taylor and him as well. Both those fives, a lot of like power dynamics with all of them. But what we're seeing here ultimately is someone that knows what's worth fighting for. His sacrals as splenic sacral. So what that means, if you know human design, is it's connected to like intuition. Okay, so his sacral is, it's what you hear often is like a sacral yes, quote unquote sacral yes. Where your sacral is attached to is the energy that you're saying yes to, right? So for him, it's like following intuition. If he's not following intuition, it's going to bite him in the ass later. So I really think that, you know, he kind of like rolled over, played nice, channel struggle. It's like, it's not worth fighting for, went against his intuition, and now it's kind of biting him in the butt. But yes, we have a lot of projection fields. Blake has the 2-4 as well. Taylor Swift is the 5-1, although hers is conscious and she leverages it very intelligently in her public persona. All right, so let's pull back up the documents. We'll just go a little bit further on the documents. So I want to get to the part about Taylor, but I don't know where it is. Sadly, this backlash could have been avoided had she not refused to meet the film's domestic violence partner organizations. Interesting. Even a brief visit to their website or a simple online search would have readily uncovered this and other information on the topic of domestic violence. Oh, that was in regards to World Health Organization estimates that 55% of domestic violence incidences are linked to alcohol. Yet she had. How does that make you guys feel? Let me know how it makes you feel. Like, to me, that seems tone deaf. And I can't imagine that Sony was like, yes, you have to serve your alcohol with Rile You Wait as the name. I don't know, guys. What do you think? The world, I honestly think the eyes are on her. And here's the thing. I believe in what I feel, especially with the devil card always coming up with her, that there was a lot of illusions that were held up for a long time. Martha Stewart kind of predicted this. I think Martha Stewart might be a witch, by the way. But Martha Stewart predicted this. We're not predicted necessarily, but she made a comment before all this went down. Do you guys remember? She made a comment before all this went down, and they asked, because she's neighbors of them. And apparently, I don't know. That's what the interview said. And they asked Martha Stewart about Ryan Reynolds, and they're like, oh, he's so funny, right? She's like, I don't find him funny. So I do think that there's an aspect of the star falling, and I don't think it's just hers. I mean, they'll be fine. They're like, what, worth 400 million? He's worth 400 million. But I do think there's going to be a shift in public perception with them. They filed their original New York Times article on the same day as his Sick Kids ads were coming out. And I don't follow Sick Kids. I'm not even American. I don't follow. I have a patch on, but the jacket came with the American patch. I don't follow Sick Kids. I don't follow Ryan or Blake or Justin on social media, yet I got targeted by Sick Kids ads. And I think it's because I click on pop culture stuff, and I click on, like, they obviously targeted certain things in their ad campaign to sway public opinion and be like, look it, Blake and I are donating all this money, and it dropped at the exact same time as the New York Times article. So I do feel there's a shift in public perception, star reversed for them. The eyes of the world are on them. I'm not saying I don't like, what I honestly feel with the cards that I pulled for them, I honestly feel she just took things really personally. That, like, for example, that interview where she was like, congrats on your little bump. And she's like 8 months pregnant. She had already, I don't know if it was literally 8 months, I'm being facetious, but she had a big ass belly. And she had already talked about it. She had already released that she was pregnant. Yeah, I don't know. Meanwhile, Baldoni, whom Lively herself had ensured was excluded from participating in her marketing efforts, was safeguarded from this backlash as he focused on amplifying the voices of those affected by domestic violence as originally intended when he reached out to author Colleen Hoover 5 years earlier and documented by his partnership with nomore.org dating back to 2022. All right, so now what we're learning, y'all, I don't know, the devil card for her is kind of coming in. I don't know. I want to hear what you guys think, but that's interesting. So if there are documents saying that all along that was the marketing campaign, because what I saw was a lot of people come out against him and be like, he went rogue and he was trying to like take over and make her look even worse. But if there's documents back to 2022 saying that this was the original plan, and Colleen Hoover, I don't know. I feel like I need to maybe pull cards for her at some point. She one of the things I never liked about her before any of this dropped. Do you guys remember that there was like coloring books and fucking nail polish that she was releasing around the time of the look at that. Again. Falling star. How many times have we pulled that in just this? Yeah. I don't know. She seems like a character. I do wonder, and this is just like my own intuitive feeling about it with Colleen Hoover, if it kind of went to her head, you know? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. That's just me saying that, but it's just weird because I remember thinking how fucking weird it was back in the day when I see like all this stuff about nail polish for It Ends With Us, and I'm thinking in my head, isn't this a domestic violence movie and you're launching nail polish? Like that always just seemed really tone deaf to me. So it's interesting if he's saying that all along, he has documents saying that his approach to the launch was actually how it was supposed to be done. Meanwhile, Stephanie Jones, founder of Joneswork LLC, we'll get to we're reading more. I'm trying to get to the Taylor Swift part. If it goes on too long, we'll just go straight to all the cards I pulled. But I want to see if we can get to the Taylor Swift part because that's interesting and it doesn't surprise me. I know Swifties will be mad. But there's just, and like I said, her energy, I think she's joked at one point about being like a magician or a witch or something. Like, I don't know. Her energy's tough to tap into for card pulls, but I don't know. I just think she has a masterful PR team overall. Like everything you see with T Swift is PR. And I saw like people defending her online on X one day and they're like, she doesn't need PR. It's all PR. It is literally all PR. Oh, Jesus. Don't kid yourself that it's not PR when something comes out from her. Death, reverse. Interesting. So we had the star reversed, death reversed. It's a beautiful card, eh? The sun. It's funny because we're going to get into it, but what this says a lot for me. So I talk a lot about death and rebirth. If you watch my astrology, I love dark goddesses like Hecate, Lilith, Pluto energy. To me, this is like death and rebirth. But I want to hear you guys tell me in the comments on the replays. Let me know who's going through, who's having the rebirth after this? Who's seeing the sun after this? Hey, you might be like, no, Blake's going to be completely vindicated in all this. And you're all going to look like assholes for thinking that it's not true. Potentially. I want to hear you guys and your take on that. Because there's going to be a death and a rebirth. Who is it? On information belief, Jones, Lively, Reynolds, and Leslie Sloan, Lively's publicist, and others concocted a plan whereby Jones, sorry, I have to like focus to read right now because all I've been doing is reading and talking all day. Jones would seize Abel's phone upon her departure. See, I figured that. We talked about that in a previous card pull We talked about that previously. I said she was saving her ass. I did a card pull. There it is. Watch that card pull after this. I said she's basically saving her ass. It's like, who do you like? Hollywood, it's all connections. Well, life is all connections. It doesn't matter like what field you're in. Your network matters. And she was siding with one that seemed better, right? So there was a plan to seize Abel's phone upon her departure and mine it for messages that, stripped of context, could be used to concoct a false narrative that the disastrous press coverage of Lively's callous and opportunistic comments and the public reaction to those comments were not Lively's fault at all, but the result of a calculated, though in reality non-existent, smear campaign by Baldoni and his team. On information and belief, Jones' role in this scheme accounts for her conspicuous absence from Lively's retelling of events. Yeah, I called that. So there it is, my friends. Confirmation on the tarot pull I did. Though Lively claimed Baldoni was the one smearing her, the reality is that it was Lively and her team who carefully planned and implemented a vile smear campaign against Baldoni and Wayfair. Interestingly enough, was it Harvey of TMZ just recently, it was like the other day, talked about how he said both sides had contacted TMZ. He didn't say in how or like how bad it was, but he said like both sides have. So again, like, again, like I said, I'm trying to find the Taylor Swift part. They advanced a fabricated narrative in the press that plaintiffs had harassed Lively, then embarked on a calculated malicious smear campaign. Defendants laid their trap carefully over a period of months before springing it all at once on the eve of the winter holidays. That it was definitely planned, of course, as well. And I also think, I want to hear what you guys have to say. What do you guys think about Hugh Jackman coming out with the girlfriend during all this? What do you guys think? To help a friend out, maybe? Maybe. I haven't pulled cards in regards to it. Their own wrongfully obtained evidence prove that neither the alleged harassment nor the accompanying smear campaign against Lively ever existed. Yet she moved forward with the plan with ruthless precision, doubling down. She went so far as to serve a lawsuit on the Los Angeles-based defendants as they evacuated their homes in the midst of a devastating fire engulfing their city. Oh my God. And a day when defendants were gathering their kids and pets, preparing go bags and monitoring evacuation orders while fearing for their homes. She, from the safety of her penthouse in New York, deployed process servers in the midst of their troubling times. Although at the bottom of this case, it's not about celebrities sniping at each other in the press. It's a case about two of the most powerful stars in the world deploying their enormous power to steal the entire film. Then, when Lively and Reynolds' efforts failed to win them the acclaim they believe they so richly deserve, they turn their fury on their chosen scapegoat, which is interesting because I do keep pulling. It's interesting they use scapegoat because one of the things, I made a pile for us to go through. But the hanged one, you guys know every time I pull for Justin Baldoni, we pull the hanged one. And to me, like, hanging someone out to dry and is basically the same as using them as a scapegoat. So that's really interesting to me. Cards never lie. Are we ever going to get to the Taylor Swift part? When it ends as us, author Colleen Hoover watched 5 Feet Apart in theaters. I think that's his other movie. She told Baldoni, "You're the right person to make this," referring to It Ends With Us. Baldoni's early emails to Hoover demonstrate their commitment to doing so in a manner he envisioned would be impactful. In fact, it was Hoover who suggested he portray Ryle. Interesting. So this is from Justin to Colleen. As also, if you'd like to see an early screening of 5 Feet Apart, I'm sure I could make that happen as well. Where are you based? Just want to say, of the reviews I read for this book, this one stood out the most to me. It makes me so excited to potentially work with you. Your fans love you. What a gift you have. Of all the heroines I've ever read, Lily was most certainly one of the ones I admired most. She knew I loved her from the first few pages, but having finished the book, I truly couldn't be prouder of her. Oh man, I can't. That's hurting my eyes to try and read that. Man, he has a lot of shit. He's like me when my employer came for me and I was like, bitches, I have enough information and proof to bury you. You guys can get the full document at newsweek.com. So that's where I found this. It was uploaded there. Okay. As they began making the film, Baldoni and Wayfair I can't read the emails, they're hurting my eyes. As they began making the film, Baldoni and Wayfair felt an immense responsibility to do justice not only to the story of protagonist Lily Bloom, worst name ever, but to the stories of survivors around the world. Plaintiff Heath, CEO of Wayfair, expressed to Forbes on June 28, 2024, his high hopes for the film. I hope that people will leave the theater feeling inspired, that for those who have been hurt, that they feel seen and the story was told in a way that honored them. I feel like people who may in themselves as someone that may hurt somebody may think twice about it. And casting, who cast Blake Lively? And casting Blake Lively, a world-renowned actor with talent and charisma, in the leading role, they entrusted her with that vision to bring Lily to life. Although Wayfair learned that Lively had a reputation for being difficult to work with, Baldoni at the time was not dissuaded and found her to be genuine. So am I just skipping things? Can you guys fill me in? Did he hire her? Did Colleen hire her? Who hired Blake? Because all I see from the two of them is literally like there's nothing between their charts, their human design charts, nothing that screams they like each other. Like if we look at, let me pull it over to human design. Pull up my software. Oops. Baldoni. Like, look at how much compromise and dominance there is in their chart. So Justin compromises her in the channel of struggle. So when we're looking at a compromise, so see here, she has gate 28, should be highlighted for you. And he has this whole channel, 28 to 38. So he compromises her, which can kind of make, like, for someone that's really sensitive like her, I feel like she would take that energy very personally. It's power and influence, the game of the gate player. Like, I feel as though, okay, this is how I read this energy from a human design perspective. He compromises her power and influence. How that might feel. Compromise is like, if you know astrology, it's very similar to like an opposition or a square. Like it's crunchy energy. It's not like nice. It's not like you want burgers tonight. Now I want burgers because I keep talking about this. And your partner wants pizza tonight. So you have burgers tonight, pizza tomorrow, right? That's not what it is. It's like she's going to feel like I lack power or I lack influence and he's doing this to me. Okay. So that's what compromise is. I feel like when I'm around you, I lack power, I lack influence, and it's very personal. You are doing this to me. What's the, and it's Pluto. Yeah, regeneration and renewal, no matter the price, a deep intuitive drive to win, no matter what the cost. So this drive to win, no matter what the cost for her personality, Pluto, 28, and he compromises it. So again, I want you to think, and we don't know when we compromise someone, right? Like, it's not like you as a human being are like, oh, I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to like exert my power because I'm the director and this is my studio. Like, I'm going to exert my power over you. No, that's not how it is in human design. It's unconscious. Holy Hannah. He has a lot of shit. So look at all the activations he has there. Actually, I think that's the most activations I've ever seen for a channel before. So his channel is struggle 28. He has personality moon, Mercury, Mars. So action, voice, emotions. Like there's so much, like all his energy in terms of his action, his words, communication, everything. It's like personality Pluto. Yeah. Coming up against her Pluto. Didn't we just say she has Pluto there? Oh, Jesus. There's their problem. Pluto to Pluto coming face to face, and she's the one compromised. And I imagine she's not someone that likes to feel as though someone is compromising her or taking away her power or taking away her influence or feeling like in that relationship she has less power. Design Sun, so 28, design Mercury, Saturn. Yeah. The intuitive capacity of the game player to provoke struggle amongst others. And then that's the exaltation, and the detriment is the intuitive recognition in times of struggle to know when allegiances or alliances must be broken and its destabilizing effect on others. So see here, he has that full channel. And then if we come back to their charts together, he compromises her 28. So he's blue, she's green. I have a feeling that was a big problem. She compromises his rhythm. So especially when we look at rhythm 5 to 15, so it's right here, she would have like what just went flying? With rhythm, one, you'd be used to other people being swept up in your rhythm, right? You'd be used to other people being swept up in what you're doing and kind of going with the flow with you. So she would be used to that very much so. In terms of having, and that's not wrong or bad, that's just the energy, right? She has the full channel there. It's like literally a design of being in flow, your flow, and you like sweep everyone else up in your flow. So I can see why, because he's compromised there. See how he has 5, and she compromises him there. I can see where he knew what was worth struggling for. He felt like he knew what was worth struggling for. He's like, whatever, like, fine, we'll follow your flow. Keep the peace. Because it doesn't necessarily have to always be a fight compromise energy unless you feel like it is a fight, and then it's going to feel like a fight. Dominance channel, she dominates him in initiation, charisma, surrender, which is going to be business, right? So something we want to keep in mind for channel surrender is that's business. That's the material plane. What are the decisions we're making to make more money? What are the decisions we're making to sell our product? That's the 26 to 44. So she also dominates him there. So I can see that, yeah, she probably wanted to take the reins in terms of the money and finances. And preservation, he actually he's dominant to her there. And it's interesting because it's like, when we look at 27 of 50, I have a lot of clients that have this channel. It's really like custodianship is taking care of people. We could look at it as like, and you need to fill your cup up first often with that, but you don't. You often don't. I have a lot of clients, especially healers, helpers, spiritual led women who don't fill their own cup up first there, right? But what we want to look at with the 27 to 50, which he has, and that's a dominance over her, is like how it could feel is he's preserving certain things, but it goes against her dominance of this is what I want to do to make more money. This is what I want to do. It's potential. And then where did they compromise on that? Did he just say it's not worth the struggle? My horses are acting like idiots. I don't know. It's interesting though, seeing their that's not what I want to do. Seeing their human design play out like in the documents. Like the battle, like struggle and like I said, like what's we're struggling for, and power and influence. And they keep saying power and influence, like she was using her power with charisma. I don't know. Do you guys think she has it? But it's interesting they use the word charisma. Do you guys remember what we just looked at? Let's pull it up again. It's interesting. Someone with charisma. She has that channel. It's so interesting, the word choice and how it matches human design. So it's like, okay, she had the charisma, she's the talent, that's fine. We'll just like acquiesce to her. So that's her channel, charisma, a design where awareness must become deeds. And again, it's like a lot of triumph energy, right? It's When we're looking at this is like the traditional manifesting generator channel. It's someone that moves very quick. Now, when we have a 34 to 20, Blake Lively, who also has the 5 to 15, this is someone's like go, 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 go. She's also a single definition in human design. So you have someone that's like quite literally designed to make big decisions, to hold the power and influence and sweep others up in her flow as she makes the financial decisions. I can see how it would be very easy for someone to just kind of get swept up in that. And then all of a sudden you're like, what just happened? But it's interesting that they mention charisma, and that's literally one of her channels. On or about December 31st, Lively agreed to take the lead role as part of subsequent negotiations. I still want to know who hired her. Can someone fill me in? Lively was granted as executive producer credit, a title often given to talent of her stature. Had requested producer credit, but Wayfair and Sony demurred. Given, I've never seen that word before, given that such a title would not accurately reflect the role she was asked to play. In the beginning, it appeared that Baldoni and Lively would have a positive, collaborative, creative partnership. I do not see that anywhere in their charts. Y'all, maybe Hollywood should hire me before they get into partnerships and have a partnership reading, because all I see, literally all I see when we look at their, now we're doing a human design call. Like, this is supposed to be tarot. And I hope you guys like human design, because now we're down the rabbit hole of human design. But like, Hollywood, call me before you get into partnerships, because all I see here, look at this, guys. Compromise, struggle, dominance. And the most important for someone who they say has a lot of power and influence in Hollywood, he compromises her power and influence. Now, this isn't meant to say, because I can see it now in the comments. I'm gonna have like anxiety checking my comments. It's not to say he held more power, okay? She may have perceived in that situation where she's like, you know, I need to have more control over the situation. I'm used to having control. And you compromise my control by being higher up than me. You compromise my control by being, is he like the director? And she was what? Executive producer or something they just said? Yeah, she was executive producer. So, and it's not like, when we're looking at compromise, again, guys, you compromise people in your own life. That's just part of being a human, right? You compromise people in your own life, in your chart. And it's not that it's necessarily always a bad energy, but in relationships, y'all, like, have you ever had a relationship, or maybe your partner right now, and you're just like, why do you always do this to me? Why do you never listen to my ideas? Why do we never like do what I want to do? And your partner's like, what do you mean? And they don't even realize it. That's compromise. I want you all to pull up your charts and look, you know, you both might have gate 11 ideas. Actually, they both freaking have gate 11. They both have gate 11 ideas. And she has an undefined ajna. Oh, he does too. But, you know, they're even compromising each other's ideas, for crying out loud. Right? So anyway, this could be like both of them saying, when we look at that compromise, him saying, you never listen to my ideas, and her being like, me, you never listen to mine. And they're both like, what are you talking about? Right? So this, when I see like, oh, it started out as a harmonic relationship. You sure about that? Like, they were oil and water from the beginning. They worked closely in the early days of the film. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I have like a stack of tarot cards I've been pulling at the beginning of this. And we've just like lost the plot. Now we're reading and doing human design. Like, their working relationship grew close. Now, that could have been part of the problem too, right? Sometimes when you're at arm's length from someone, compromise and dominance channels aren't that bad. But then the closer, like the more time you spend with someone, it's kind of like, okay, this is actually a good example. So, you know how when you first meet someone and you have like the honeymoon phase and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this about them. And then 3 years later, you're like, Drives me crazy about you. That is also a compromise channel, right? So that very thing sometimes that like you thought was cute or it was like an inside joke can become annoying over time. So it is possible. Lively and Baldoni shared stories and pictures from their lives, commiserated. Yeah. Lively even felt comfortable enough to make silly jokes, redirecting a sweet compliment Baldoni gave her. Justin Baldoni, well played. Blake Lively, I feel the same. It's such a good feel. He has a lot of, oh, Jesus. I don't know, guys. I'm not saying it's not true, but I am saying that I think things might have been blown out of proportion, possibly. Blake Lively, I feel the same. It's such a good feeling to get work done that we're proud of it and to do it together. It just clicks when we find it. And that's just as rewarding as filming it or editing it or marketing it or releasing it. This is all storytelling. This is why we do it. Blake Lively, thank you for collaboration. I'm really proud of what we're doing. Justin, loved. I feel the same. It's such a good feeling. Okay, so he loved her message. I like sentimental Blake. Blake Lively, never met her. Justin Baldoni, I also like asshole Blake, don't worry. Okay, that's actually cute. I could see that being a joke I make with like my friends or even my husband. I like sentimental Blake. She says never met her. Justin, I also like asshole Blake, don't worry. Okay, good night, he says. Blake Lively says I've met her. Like I've met asshole Blake. So I don't know. She might even like, oh, sorry guys. Let me make the video bigger for you guys. Or the screen. She might even just like, I don't know. Maybe she knows she's a bit of an ass. I don't know. Like, she might even know she's a bit difficult. I admit I'm a little bit difficult. I'm bullheaded, right? So have my suppositories. Good night. And he laughed. That was the nature of the relationship, which made Blake's later allegations all the more baffling. And that's, if you set a precedence for laughing at each other with each other like that, I don't know. It might feel weird when all of a sudden, like, if for example, he keeps going with that, and then all of a sudden she's like, no, like, I don't know. Maybe that's. She often refused to participate in wardrobe fittings at the production office, which were a mere 15 minutes from her home. She insisted that the costume department pack up wardrobe and deliver it to her personal residence. Celebrities are wild. Like, I'm just so fascinated by the mindset that goes into it. I can't even imagine. But again, that's her power and influence. That's her the gate we were talking about, the 28. She's used to having that power and influence. And so when he might have tried to like either consciously or not exert power and influence, that might not have gone very well. Oh my gosh, did I just close it? I heard my goats screaming in the background. Living on a farm. I'm gonna have to open it up for you guys. Oh, damn it. All right, I don't think I'm gonna be able to find the Taylor Swift part. Oh, it's okay. Oh, I think this is where it is. As another example, early in the pre-production stage, Lively sent Baldoni a long text describing how directors never permitted her to write scenes for the movie she acted in, nor gave her writing credits, even making her hand scribble her suggestions for lines so they could not be traced to her. That's wild. Lively boasted that she had even written for her husband's movies. I have heard that. I have heard that previously, that she wrote for Ryan's movies and he never has given her credit. Then Lively asked if she could take a pass at writing the rooftop scene for It Ends With Us, in which the character Riley and Lily first meet. The pivotal scene, much beloved by the book fans, was critical for setting the tone for the movie, so Baldoni was reluctant to allow an actor rather than a union screenwriter to rewrite the scene. But he felt the need to allow Lively to rewrite the scene and agree to take a look at what she put together. All right, we're almost there, guys, and then we'll talk about the cards I pulled. The draft of the rooftop scene that Lively sent Baldoni dramatically differed from what had been written originally. Baldoni was hesitant about many of the changes, but thanked Lively for her passion and diplomatically told her that the scene would likely end up being somewhere between the original version and Lively's version. So here is, guys, remember what I said about that dominance channel. It can be like like gut punch, taken very personal. And what we've seen is when she, like the congrats on your little bump. If she feels like attacked or put down, like I don't doubt that she felt like this was a personal attack. And maybe she was really hurt. She probably was. Especially if like your own husband isn't giving you writing credit. That's wild to me. And people are making you write it on paper towels and shit. Hollywood. Seemingly stung by Baldoni's exceedingly mild resistance. See, there's that struggle challenge. Yeah. Lively did not respond and went silent for multiple days. Later, she confirmed in a text message below that Baldoni's response, of course, didn't feel great for me or any mega celebrity friend and Ryan Reynolds to have my passion praised instead of my specific contribution. Oh. What did I just say? That it wouldn't feel good. Keep reading, Ashley. But, also the human design tells us what would hurt for her. Told you it would hurt her. I don't doubt it. Lively was referring to an earlier meeting, and she's a 2-4, which is also dealing with projections. I do think she's a little bit sensitive, but also like fiery at the same time. Lively was referring to an earlier meeting where Lively summoned Baldoni to her New York penthouse, where Baldoni was greeted by Ryan Reynolds, who launched an enthusiastic praise for Lively's version of the scene. Hours later as the meeting was ending, a famous and famously close friend of Reynolds and Lively walked in the room and similarly praised Lively's script. Is she named or not? Baldoni understood the subtext. He needed to comply with Lively's direction of the script. So how do we know it's Taylor's? It's definitely Taylor. I thought she was like explicitly named. But anyway, everyone's saying it's Taylor Swift. Maybe it's later. I'm not going to read this whole document for you guys. Later, Baldoni felt obligated to text Lively to say that he had liked her pages and hadn't needed Reynolds and her mega celebrity friend. I love that they call her a mega celebrity friend. That's I think that's funny. Lively responded that the two were her dragons. What does that mean? It almost feels like a threat. Lively went on to say, they, Reynolds, and the mega celebrity friend also know I'm not always good at making sure I'm seen and utilized for fear of threatening egos or fear of affecting the ease of the process. They don't give a shit about them. And because of that, everyone listens to them in immense respect and enthusiasm. Okay, so what? Her texts are hard to read. It's like trying to read Raw or who's writing. He's impossible. Okay, Lively went on to say, let's try this again. They, Reynolds, and mega celebrity. I guess everyone's assuming Taylor. So Reynolds and Taylor also know I'm not always good at making sure I'm seen and utilized for fear of threat. Oh, okay. So she's saying that Ryan and Taylor are basically being like, be more forceful. That she's afraid of threatening egos. I don't know if she's afraid of threatening your egos. Girlfriend's got all gates in the ego defined. I'm not 100% sure I buy that. Or fear of affecting the ease of the process. They don't give a shit about that. Okay, so it could be. Now this is making more sense, the cards I pulled for Taylor. That could be interesting for Taylor if there's proof of Blake being like, Taylor actually doesn't care about threatening egos and doesn't care about the ease of the process. Because like I said, I don't know. I think a lot of people online buy into very incredibly done PR and marketing by Taylor's team. You don't get to the level she's gotten to by just simply being good at what you do. Okay, so they don't give a shit about that. So Ryan Reynolds and Taylor, it is going to make so much more sense, y'all. Like I said, I have a pile. Don't worry, we're getting there. Of cards I've been pulling at the beginning of this. So Taylor and Ryan don't give a shit about that. They don't care, essentially, she's saying, about threatening egos. They don't care about affecting the process. Like they get what they want, is essentially. And because of that, everyone listens to them with immense respect and enthusiasm. So they get what they want. Ryan and Taylor get what they want. So I guess I have to stop worrying about people liking me. I don't know emoji. Emphasis added. And what have I said about this from the start with you guys? I said, I think that like this is Blake's way of kind of pulling what Ryan did with Deadpool. I called that. We did a card pull and I said that. I thought maybe this was her way of pulling what he did. Like, I don't care. This is what I want and this is what I'm getting. And it's funny because now we're seeing in her words, it's interesting. It's not a text. I wonder if he's just like Maybe it was in person, or no, it would have been emoji. So text or email. I don't know. It's interesting. There's not a clip of that, but it seems like it's kind of like, look, I've seen Ryan, I've seen Taylor be like, I don't give a shit who I hurt. I don't give a shit what happens. Like this, I want it done this way, and this is what I'm doing. And this, I'm getting what I want. And I had said I thought that the cards never lie. Oh my gosh, my sheep is just screaming. I think my husband's out there feeding them. We're just a little bit behind. He had a call, so they're used to eating a little bit earlier than this, but he usually does. For those that don't know, follow me on Instagram, Ashley Brianna Eve. I show you guys the farm life from time to time. Not from time to time, a few days a week. Mostly if I'm out on the farm, I don't have my phone with me because I just want to be on the farm, but I do try to share as well. The message could not have been more clear. This makes so much more sense, guys, on the cards that I've been pulling at the beginning. We'll get there. Stick with me because I am captivated now. I was like, I'm not reading this. Like, go to Emily D. Baker or Popcorn Planet. And now I'm like, I can't look away. But it makes more sense. I'm actually glad that I followed that intuitive like nudge to read into this because it's going to make a lot more sense. Because at first, as I was pulling some of these cards, I'm like, I don't really get what the yeah. Anyway, we'll get there. So the message could not have been clear. Baldoni was not just dealing with Lively. He was also facing Lively's dragons, two of the most influential and wealthy celebrities in the world who are not afraid to make things very difficult. Oh, we have more text messages. Oh my gosh. Blake, if you send me the FDX, I'll work when I can steal moments. And yes, of course, please send a Christy. We're all on the same team with the same goal. Justin, great. Also was working on the rooftop scene today. Really love what you did. It really does help a lot. Makes it so much more fun and interesting. And I would have felt that way without Ryan. Oh, well, there's the name. And I would have felt that way without Ryan and Taylor, winky face. Guys, that actually kind of makes me sad. Does that not make you sad? Like, to me, that is like, you didn't have to pressure me. Like, you didn't have to bring your friends in. But this is also, like I said, the 28 to 38 is like trying to exert that control, right? Like, you heard that. I just said this before we got to this. Like, energy never lies. I love human design and astrology because it never lies. Like, she's essentially saying, like, I'm tired of being compromised. And I actually, what is? She has it, Ryan. They all have 28. That's interesting, though. Do you guys see that? Ryan Reynolds has 28, activated 4 times. It's all power and influence. That's really interesting to me. Shaking hands with the devil twice. Taylor Swift has the channel, 38 to 28. Blake has 28. Justin has 38 to 28. It was like, honestly, guys, what the human design tells us too is it was literally just like power, ego. Like, yeah, I kind of feel bad for him. Let me know what you guys think, but I kind of feel bad because that to me is like, you didn't have, like, I hear you. You didn't have to bring Ryan and Taylor in. So I would have felt that way without Ryan and Taylor. You really are a talent across the board. Really excited and grateful to do this together. Blake, that's very appreciated, means a lot. I'm deeply inspired by the film we're going to make outside the success of this book. We have such an opportunity to not only surprise people who love the book, but reach an even bigger audience by making an undeniably dynamic and also commercial film. The moment, and see that wording too really comes out. Remember we talked about she has a channel of money, a channel of the entrepreneur. It's like commercial success. It's like very different mindset. Yeah, but it's not wrong. It's her design as well, right? The moment that excited me most the other day was when you said you're not funny. The moment that excited me the most the other day was when you said you're not funny. You are going to kill that rooftop scene. You know it, I'm sure. Even though it was said in a playful self-deprecation that we all participate in, it made me think of the process as a whole. Please know I trust that on the day you've got me. And I hope that you trust that I've got you if you want it. We're in this together and we are two of the most determined people I know. 28. We also have very high bars set for ourselves. To collaborate with that type of partner is a gift that neither of us will squander. See, if you're being like, I don't know. If things are so bad, are you sending these messages? Because we both care too much about the result and also the experience. I have no motives except for you to win as a director, as an actor, as a studio, as a writer. If you win, I win. If you win, our movie wins. We are aligned and I will bring everything I have to this. Blake, as for Redacted and Ryan, and Redacted for that matter, I'm the luckiest motherfucker on the planet to have them as my dance moms level. Stage moms. They're embarrassingly effusive. She's hard to read. That said, they're also my most trusted partners and the people I go to first with anything creative I touch. And I'm the person they each go to first. That reciprocal creativity and support has been one of life's greatest and most fulfilling gifts. Yeah. And so here's the thing. You're Justin going up against essentially what Blake is saying without maybe saying it is you go up against me or going up Taylor and Ryan. Interestingly enough, that I wonder if Taylor is one of those names there or not, because her name wasn't redacted earlier. And I learned the word redacted from Emily D. Baker. When they loved and signed off on the pages, I felt good to send them to you. They asked what you thought specifically after. They checked in so many times. I told them that you laughed a bunch and said it's probably a blend, but you appreciate my passion so much, which of course didn't feel great for me or them. So she wanted the entire scene. It wasn't okay. Interesting, guys, which of course didn't feel great for me or them. To have my... Why does it matter to Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift? That's just like, to me, it's just a power play. What do you all think? Let me know what you think. That feels like a power play to me. Or to them, to have my passion be praised instead of any specific contribution. So she felt it was a slight. She felt it was a slight to have someone say, I love your passion rather than I love what you wrote. This is also what goes into what I was saying. I think a lot of stuff she takes out of context and takes very personally. I have an astrology reading on her. That's really interesting as well. So I think they wanted you and me to see how they felt about the work because they've been by my side for far too many experiences where I've been overlooked. See, I said it, guys. I spoke to you about this when we first met. They've watched me handwrite scripts because the director is too afraid to send the FDX, I don't know what that is, file, yet he scans and has someone hand type all 120 pages of my pencil rewrites. They've watched me be hired as a writer and paid a significant fee for it, but on the condition that I never ask for credit. But the interesting thing is she just said she's done that for her husband too. So why isn't her husband giving her credit? They've watched the other side of it too, where I'm told that signing on that I'm wanting as a true collaborator, but once we get to work, I'm really just wanted as a yes man, audience, and actor. Yeah. Both Ryan and Blank, Redacted, have established themselves as absolute titans. Yeah, I think and this is what I really think she saw this as her opportunity. Does it make what all went down right? No. I do kind of also feel bad for her, to be honest. That kind of sucks. Like, I don't know. I feel like one, for her as a 2 foreign human design is all about your network. And as a 2, things are meant to be easy. And the 2 kind of wants to be recognized for things, right? So if we look at it from the human design perspective, the 2 wants to be recognized for things. And the problem is a lot of 2s get recognized, the 2-4 profile, so the 2 on the front, get recognized for the wrong things. And it sounds like most of her life, she's like, yeah, I'm getting recognized for certain things. Sure. I'm getting recognized. I'm really passionate, but now I'm recognizing myself. And this is, I think, where also we got a lot of conflict because she's going like, yeah, I'm recognizing myself. There we go. Recognizing myself now. And I want to be recognized for the right thing. And maybe it just came out really wrong. But that too, it'd be even more important, I think, to a projector. She's a manifesting generator. But that too is very much like you so deeply want to be seen and recognized for something. It's like you're waiting. So that too, to give you guys context on Blake, because I'm neutral. Like I feel bad for him that he, even in a text message, like they showed the proof. he felt steamrolled by Taylor, Blake, and Ryan. But I also kind of feel bad for her knowing human design, because as that too, your entire life, you're looking for the right call out. You want to be called out so bad. And the second line is often called out for things, and they say yes to things and kind of like acquiesce to things that aren't really what you want to be called out for. So she says, like, everyone calls me out for my passion and says I'm so passionate, and everyone says, praises me for my acting. But what I really want to be seen for, second line, what I really want to be acknowledged for, what I finally want someone to call me out for is my writing. And I hope that also gives a little bit of context into Blake's energy. Like, I think this gives us context for sure, this text as the whole thing. But in terms of her human design and her energy, I think she was also like, for second lines, a way I coach second lines is like, own what you want to be called out for. Own it. Stop waiting for this sounds like what Ryan and Taylor were telling her. Stop waiting for someone else to call you out on it. And if you want to go for it, you go for it. And I feel like she was like feeling like that. Like, she had me yelling at her, but it was really like Ryan and Taylor being like, stop waiting for the right call out and create it. I still find it really weird that she said she's written for Ryan, but no one gives me writing credit. So her own husband's not even giving her writing credits. Like, that's just weird to me. That seems really like, oh shit, is that not even plugged in? Damn it. It's not even plugged in. Oh, guys, I'm such a mess. I went live and like, don't even have my good mic plugged in. That's okay. We're just rolling. It's been a long day. That's all right. We'll survive. Yeah. So I do also feel bad for her, because I think she was at a point in her life where she was tired of saying yes to the wrong things. Like, and she was tired of, especially manifesting generator. Like, usually, who call manifesting generators the great quitters. I'm sorry, this is mostly turning into human design, guys. I hope you don't mind. But I think this also gives you context into the two of them. So generators, which is what Justin is, also what Blake is. Taylor Swift is a projector. Ryan is a generator as well. What ends up happening is who, the creator of the human design system, said that the generator, they're like the yes men, the yes women. And they burn out and they keep quitting things, or like they get exhausted or frustrated is kind of the like not self theme of the generator, because they keep saying yes to things to like that aren't right for them. And so what we can understand from her energy a little bit is she moves really fast, sometimes with a single definition. You should be pausing, but you're moving so fast that maybe she's like, okay, yeah, no big deal. Like, I'll write it out for you. And then all of a sudden, before she knows it, she's being steamrolled. Her script, what she wrote, is using the script, and she has no credit, right? And so what it could have also been, when we're looking at it from the perspective of human design, is like, she finally was like, whatever, I'm not waiting for anyone to call me out anymore. Like, I recognize myself, and I'm a fantastic writer. And then so she finally kind of gets emboldened with this like second line energy. It's the same things I tell my clients. My clients are going to be laughing as they watch this, because they're going to be like, yeah, you always tell me, like, just stop waiting for people to call you out and claim it yourself. I always say, like, you're a full ass adult. You do not need people to keep calling you out as a full ass adult. Like, you've been called out since you were a kid. Own it. Right. And so I think that's kind of what she's getting at here, is that same energy, whether, I don't think anyone around her knows human design, but they're basically saying human design, that like, just call yourself out, own it. Did she go about it right? That's not what I'm claiming, that she went about it right, if this is all true. But I do think that's the energy behind it. So she says, both Ryan and Blake have established themselves as absolute titans, as writers and storytellers outside their primary gig, just singing or acting. So yeah, I don't know why the name was redacted everywhere but once. Anyway, just singing or acting, or redacted, just directing. Interesting. I wonder who that is. I'm so lucky to have them as creative barometers, but also to have them as the people who prop me up and make sure I'm seen. See? Seen. Second line. For all I can and do offer. Second line. Second line. Man, I love human design, because they know firsthand all I contribute. They also know I'm not always as good at making sure I'm seen, and utilize for fear of threatening egos or fear of affecting the ease of the process. They don't give a shit about that. Because of that, everyone listens to them with immense respect and enthusiasm. So I guess I have to stop worrying about people liking me. Did she ever, though? I don't know. Some of the interviews I've seen of her, like I never got the feeling that she's like super concerned about people liking her. If you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi and like her. Y'all have to help me out. Who has watched Game of Thrones? I have not. I am obsessed with dragons. I work with dragons. Like dragon energy is like, and I think I watched one episode. There wasn't enough dragons, and I never watched it again. So y'all are gonna have to help me out there. What's Khaleesi like? She's a blonde, right? So if you ever get around, okay, I'm Khaleesi and like her. I happen to have a few dragons, for better or worse, but usually for better. So do the dragons protect Khaleesi? I'm gonna need help with that because my dragons also protect those I fight for. So really, we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. You will too. I can interesting. Y'all, do you see that? Oh, the devil card makes so much sense now. Ugh. Like illusions, right? Wow. So for better or worse, but usually better. So her dragons, Ryan and Taylor, will also protect those that she fights for. So like if you're in our inner circle, we got you, boo. If you're in our inner circle, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to be psychic to read between those lines. So really, we all benefit from these gorgeous monsters of mine. Interesting. You will too, I can promise. Am I the only one reading in between the lines here of like, just let me have the power and influence here. You will benefit, I promise. We got you. If you're with us, good things happen. Am I the only one reading it like that? Difficult proved to be an understatement, though Baldoni initially invited Lively to make changes to script. Lively began altering the script daily. The frequency of Lively's revisions alarmed the producers, director, and studio, who anticipated that her interference would persist every day of the shoot and disrupt the carefully planned production schedule. Each shooting day was intricately scheduled long in advance, and Lively's constant changes placed significant stress on the production team, not to mention financial strain on Wayfair. Producer, oh my God, he came with all the proof. Oof. Are you listening to this? She's fixing the script. I think Angie's advice was wrong, actually. Blake is now directing the movie. This is bad. Jamie Heath, I'm listening. Talking through it is better than not. Seeing what's possible as long as any decision is done with approval. Producer, not for something that was already intimately planned. This will be every day of the shoot. Jamie Heath, I know. I'm not sure what can be done, honestly, at this point in terms of Blake. And then more than a year later, during a red carpet interview at the New York film premiere, Blake stated the iconic rooftop scene, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that but you now. That was shady. This startling revelation directly contradicted Lively's previous instance that she had written the scene and certainly cast Reynolds' high praise for the rewritten scene in a different light. The film's credited screenwriter, when asked about the claim that Reynolds had written the scene, graciously responded, from what I understand, that was the first time she had heard about it. So if I am being told that Ryan wrote that, then great. How wonderful. Oh my God. Can you imagine how horrifying? You're on a red carpet and you think you wrote the scene, and then people are like, so we heard Ryan wrote the scene. What do you think about that? Like, I don't know. I wasn't made for stuff like this. Like, I wasn't made to be in that situation because I would have been like, what the fuck? This was also the first time that plaintiffs learned that Reynolds, who had no formal role whatsoever in the film's production, had made unauthorized changes to the script in secret. Baldoni, equally blindsided by the news, which he discovered in real time during a recorded interview with Access Hollywood, reacted by also praising Reynolds. Do not harm Lively. Reynolds, who apparently wrote the scene, and others during a WAG. Oh my God. WGA strike. WAG would be what Taylor is, not what happened here. Wow, an email. They came with like the receipts. Is that what the kids say these days? I'm too old. They came with the receipts. Subject ends with us, Ryan Reynolds writing issue. Wayfair Council. Hi, redacted. We certainly need some clarity on public comments made about Ryan Reynolds potentially contributing writing scenes for the rooftop scene. Can you provide additional information on this, as there's no contracts, his service are not in the chain, nor is his name anywhere in the credits. One of the many media reports cite this claim made by Blake Lively. Thanks for clarifying. His services were rendered. Obviously, we require signed documentation immediately. Let's look at his chart quick. I do believe that, do I include him on the astrology one? I don't know, but I do have an astrology one up about them. Yeah. Self-righteousness. So channel of the alpha, 31-7, a design of leadership for good or bad. Interesting. So 31, this one, who had called it like for good or bad, influence and power for good or bad. So we called it like the Gandhi or Hitler gate. Like, and I always like choke up as I say it. I never want to say it, but I also want to use who's words around that. So the idea around it is like leadership for good or bad, essentially, right? Like you have so much influence that you can, it's like Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. Law of friction. He has a lot of energy for friction. I don't think he's as easygoing as he claims. But self-righteousness, lack of external influence guaranteed by attitude. Yeah, I think, yeah. Channel of power. So when we look at Ryan, I want you guys to think about this. His channel of power, design of archetype, all about triumph, like his values, Venus, are triumph. Mercury, power of clarity, right? Mercury, like action that he's taking, and how he's using his voice, and a double-edged sword, right? Like the actions you're taking, the way you're using your voice can be a double-edged sword. Interesting. When clarity points to a problem, one is unable, because of circumstances, to solve, a tendency to anger and frustration that provokes inevitably futile action. The possibility that when intuition cannot solve a problem, a tendency to frustration and anger. Is that an interesting side of Ryan that we haven't seen before? Did he get angry when things didn't go their way? I don't know. We have someone that's the leader, power in the leader, the fifth line, which is conscious, contrary to Baldoni's unconscious fifth line. Conscious fifth line, which that's someone that knows that they're the leader, that knows they're the guru, that knows they're in a position of power. So we have channel of the alpha, we have channel of power, and yet Baldoni compromises power and influence on him and Blake. I just don't think that would go over well. I don't think that would go over well, my friends. All right, I think I'm going to we're at text. Who's Dawn? Okay, speak later today. I can get you a program this week. Oh, okay, I'm guessing this is the okay. Baldoni had been introduced to trainer Dawn, who became Baldoni's personal trainer by Lively. Oh, I didn't realize that Lively connected them. Dawn directed Baldoni's preparation for the film role, including his nutrition and exercise, making special accommodations for Baldoni's back injury. Baldoni even paid to receive Dawn's meal delivery service. Dawn's, okay, speak later today. I can get you a program this week. Justin, sure. Just got to New York City for the day. Hey, bud, tried ya. Dawn, call you in a few. Cool, standing by. And it looks like the program was sent. Here you go. So this is Dawn. Here you go. 4 things. The jumps are to be low intensity, and this is to improve performance. Go 50% intensity for the first few weeks. Let's sub the dead stop rows for chest-supported rows. 3, stay out of lumbar extension. Your low back should not arch. 4, week 1 should be 70 to 80% intensity. Not push and add the cardio like we discussed. Let's jump on a call after you review. You know, I have a background in personal training. Doesn't Baldoni have back problems? Like, I don't know. I don't know the details of their training program or anything, but like if he had active back problems, even like, there's no such thing as really low intensity jumps. Jumping is jumping. Anyway, amazing. Can't wait to Justin. Check it out. Thank you. Privately, Baldoni reached out to Donna's personal trainer to ask what Lively weighed so that he could train his back muscles in preparation for a scene. It was important to avoid injury. Not only did Baldoni suffer from lifelong back injuries, multiple bulging discs, and chronic pain, but also Lively, the lift could not be completed successfully and safely. Notwithstanding Lively's recent attempts to deny the existence of any such scene, was only nixed by her insistence that after being planned and rehearsed. Yeah, and then I'm going to stop after this and just do the tarot quick because we're getting pretty late. As much as I admire Emily D. Baker, I'm not at the point of streaming for 6 hours. The next morning, Baldoni was summoned to the penthouse by Lively and greeted by Reynolds, who swore at Baldoni and accused him of fat shaming his wife. How dare you fucking ask my wife about her weight? What's wrong with you? Yeah, okay. Let's get over into the astrology, or we did human design. The tarot that I was pulling at the start. Okay, so Two of Cups, partnership, positive message. So this was in regards to, as I was pulling in the beginning, oh, fuck, let me do this. Actually, we can probably stop screen share. Pulling in regards to Justin and what's going on. So Two of Cups, made a little pile for us to go through together as I was rambling. Yeah, so okay, this in and of itself, like usually you're looking at Two of Cups of partnership and a positive message. And I think this is what we're looking at in terms of what he was saying, right? Like in the beginning it was positive. In the beginning there wasn't problems. Like I was blindsided by her. I was blindsided. I didn't see any of this coming. I think that's what we're really seeing with this, the Two of Cups, is that partnership. Like I went into it with the best of intentions. We had this good relationship and then I was blindsided because next we have Nine of Coins reversed. They're so shiny, they're hard to see. Nine of Coins reversed, which is going to be unexpected bumps and projects falling apart. So yeah, what I'm seeing then is it. Okay, I said when I was reading the documents that I didn't think it was true, that I thought they were liars, that it was ever positive, but apparently it was. I was wrong when I was reading the documents. Cards are saying it was positive, and then unexpected bumps. So yes. Okay, the cards are saying that. Yeah, okay. I didn't think that'd be the case with their human design charts, but it is. Five of Wands. I love these cards. Five of Wands. So a project took a darker turn. So this is actually really cool. It's like telling the story. It's like taking us on a little story. So positive partnership in terms of business, Nine of Coins. Then all of a sudden we hit this bump. The Five of Wands, darker turn. It was no longer beneficial. So what we also can see with the Five of Wands is like you have to focus on what's important to you and not kind of be like pushed around. And I think that's kind of where like when his channel of struggle came in, where it was tough. Like I think he internally was like, it's not worth struggling for. But in doing that, he didn't focus on what was important to him, which caused issues down the road. Like he kind of like acquiesced and then that caused more issues. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of, I'm glad we went through that before because I would have been like, no, I don't believe this. But yeah, positive partnership, unexpected bumps, shit went sideways. Like that's the non-spiritual way to say Five of Wands. Like shit went sideways. It started out good and then shit went sideways. He needed to have focused on what was important to him, but he started acquiescing. And then that's where stuff things started to fall apart. Reverse Sword of Justice. And the scales. So when we're looking at reverse, it's like truth coming to the surface. One, there is repression of things. Usually if we're seeing reverse sword reverse justice with the sword, it can be like this, like kind of feeling guilty about things, and re-looking kind of at your past and airing out your past. I don't see this though as guilty in regards to like the SA claims. What I see, especially in context of what we've pulled so far, is kind of like guilty and feeling guilty about just letting them steamroll from the beginning. Like I didn't stand my ground and stay with my intuition. I was kind of blindsided because it was a good partnership and it just got a little bit bumpy. So I didn't think too much of it. And then all of a sudden shit went sideways and, I feel guilty for that. So truth coming to the surface. I always pull the Hermit for him. And it is about, and I've seen him in interviews called Hippy Dippy. And I think that's a piece of the Hermit. It's the image as well for the Hermit is all about like seeing like the steps in front of you, right? Like trusting, higher perspective, trusting intuition. So we're seeing another card in regards to intuition. Like he didn't trust his intuition, but you best trust your intuition now. You best trust your intuition now. Trust your inner voice now. Follow that. Stick to your guns. I always pull this. It's really bizarre, guys. Always pull the devil for her. Or like when I pull in regards to them, shadows and illusions, and it's falsehoods coming to light when you pull the devil. It doesn't mean someone is literally the devil. It's falsehoods coming to light. I don't know. Everything we just pulled before the devil was all about falsehoods coming to light. Started out fine, little bit bumpy, shit went sideways. I feel guilty because, you know, I should have just held my ground in the beginning, but truth is coming to the surface now. I'm going to see things from a higher perspective and listen to that inner voice finally and reveal the illusions. I don't know, kind of goes with what he's saying, right? I wouldn't have guessed that things ever were good, personally. High Sage. Well, yeah, feeling overwhelmed. Reversed, obviously. So this is going to be in regards to him feeling very overwhelmed, confused about a situation. And I think the confusion about the situation is coming from like the Two of Cups that we pulled originally. Like things were fine. Where did things go so sideways? So feeling kind of that overwhelm, but also, you know, focused on the future, focused on where you're going. Wheel of Fortune, good future, good fortune. Everything's a cycle. I really wish the lights were better for these because they're such beautiful cards. But everything's a cycle. Life's a cycle. This too shall pass. Stand up for yourself. The Hanged One. Let go. Surrender. Like, you sacrificed. Shit went sideways. It's fine. Let go. Surrender. Might not be progress in the short term. So it might look like, you know, things are going to get worse in the short term. Stick to your guns. Because long term, you may feel in limbo now, but it's going to pay off. 10 of Coins. Protect your legacy. It's going to pay off. It's interesting. Like 10 of Coins is also financial success. Might he win this? I don't know. It's like 400 million or something, isn't it? I don't know. They might just settle if they have enough proof. But it says financial success. 400 million is a lot of money. Is it 400 million? Yeah, 400 million. I don't know. All right. Financial success. We'll see what happens. Four of Swords, chronic stress, like being under a lot of stress. You know, it's interesting because if you look at Justin's history, he talks about like stress having put him in the hospital. So I don't doubt that like he's still under a lot of chronic stress. And then the Five of Swords. So exhaustion. No doubt he's meaning exhaustion. Like I don't even think that's like, obviously, of course he's meaning exhaustion, but this looks like more the cards are showing us a timeline. Like it was fine in the beginning, hit some bumps, shit went sideways because I didn't stand up for my higher ideals. I didn't listen to my intuition, but you know, I feel guilty about that. But the truth is coming to light. Like I feel guilty. It's coming to light though. It'll be fine if I stick to, you know, if I pull out all the illusions, show everything that really happened. Sure, exhausted, tired, but Wheel of Fortune's going it's favoring him. I don't know. To me, it's those cards are in line with what he said in the filing. I'm glad I read it a bit, if I'm going to be completely honest, because I'd been like, I honestly don't know where the Two of Cups comes from because it's a positive partnership, and I would have guessed based on their human design. You guys heard me say it earlier that there would have never been a positive energy for them. Interesting. So I asked about Taylor Swift and kind of her role. It's interesting that's the Hermit that was pulled first and reverse. Because like I said, that's always, I have never in my life pulled the Hermit like this. That's always represented Justin when I've pulled for them. We'll see. The Star. So I've now pulled reverse Star for Taylor and Blake. Maybe those illusions coming out. Maybe what they did to the hermit. Here's the thing, though, guys. Taylor's going to be just fine. Don't worry about Taylor Swift. She'll be just fine. She has like the best marketing and PR department in the entire world. It's barely going to touch her. I'm sure they'll be like, I don't know. She'll announce an engagement or something to draw attention away. Not even be surprised. For Taylor. Tower. You know, here's the thing. I would be shocked if there's negativity that really fully comes her way. Like I will eat my shoes if real impact to her character is done right now. Like the Swifties are going to be Swifties regardless. They're going to be Swifties regardless. Might have a little impact. I think she's going to get some bad press potentially when you start to see these where it's like she's in tech, like Blake has text messages saying that Taylor doesn't care about people. It doesn't care about interrupting the process. She just gets whatever she wants. I think that could make some interesting headlines. But I also think she has like one of the most powerful PR teams in the world. I really don't think it's going to impact her, to be honest, but I could be proven wrong. I've been proven wrong before. Skills and knowledge to, yeah, well, there you go. Skills and knowledge to overcome obstacles. Taylor's going to be just fine. I don't think Blake's going to be very fine after all this. I think Justin might not be very fine after all this as well, but Taylor's going to be just fine. We might even see Blake show up at, well, maybe not actually, now that Taylor's named in the lawsuit. I was going to say maybe you'll see Blake show up at some games with Taylor, but probably bad for them. That would be a misstep in PR. For text messages to have come out of like them colluding to like take over the movie and then you see them together, but Blake's team has made some pretty shit PR choices. So, I mean, I don't know. Guess it's possible. So Wheel of Fortune. So this is with Taylor. Keep in mind, this is Taylor. Yeah, unexpected change, but it can look like luck or fortune. Now, in terms of everything else, looking in the bigger context, is a matter of luck or fortune running out. I think short term, but again, she's got skills and knowledge. Her team has a skill and knowledge. I think short term, there might be a little hit. Long term, you can't really, like the impact Taylor has now, the celebrity status she has, the brand she's created that's just like locked and loaded. It'd be damn near impossible to actually take her down. And the Magician. What did I tell you guys at the beginning? She's a magician. She's a witch. I think Taylor's going to be just fine. We see the text messages. So obviously it's not just Justin saying, Blake said it. So obviously she did have her fingers in the pie. She was trying to exert influence with Ryan and Blake on Justin. I mean, we have the text messages saying it's not just like guessing now, but yeah, like, is her star gonna fall? No. She's the magician and she's got the skills to come out of it. She'll be just fine. I do think maybe it'll have like a little bit of a bump in the road, and the power of tree pain, y'all. I don't think you're going to see as many headlines as another celebrity might get because, yeah, Tree Pain will be all over this. It'll be fine. She'll be all over it. So, yeah, I think what we're seeing here is a confirmation in the cards of what Justin said, a confirmation in the cards that it was fine in the beginning. And so he was blindsided when like shit hit the fan. He was like, holy fuck, where did this come from? Because things were fine. So the cards are confirming that. And that it started out with just little bumps. And then like, reverse 5 wands, things went sideways, darker turn. And now the illusions and truth are coming to the surface. I do feel he feels really guilty. When we look at the reverse swords for him, I also feel like guilt is like, I do feel like there's a sense of guilt as well of like letting people down, letting people in the film down, that he feels he let down for letting those boundaries slide. I do think so when we think of reverse swords. I don't think guilt is around like that feeling of reverse swords and association of guilt I don't get the feeling, especially with the rest of the cards we pulled, that is guilt like, oh shit, now people know what I did. I think it's guilt in the fact that, like, fuck, I let a lot of people down. And it's just interesting that the first card I pulled about Taylor Swift was the reverse hermit, like taking down the hermit. It's interesting. All right, guys, I gotta go. Hour and 45 minutes. Holy shit. I've got to go. Thank you for hanging out with me. Let me know in the comments what you think about all of this. If you want the full reading, I'm sure Emily D. Baker, from a legal perspective, is probably streaming the entire reading. She'll probably be on for like 8 hours tonight reading it. She is absolutely wonderful. I wanted to, it's funny because you were here. I said I didn't want to get too much into the documents. I'm glad we did, because if I'm being quite honest, I've been like, I don't believe it. I don't believe there was ever positive energy between those two. But the first thing we pulled was positive energy, positive partnership, positive emotions between him and Blake. And then, interesting in regards to Taylor, it's the reverse hermit. It's take down the hermit. And ultimately, you don't have to believe the cards. It was Blake's own words in the text messages. All right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.